action. Yeah. Oh, no. For one final time, welcome inside the ballpark at Old Orchard Beach for a conclusive night of GNCBL action for one final chance for both of these teams, the home Nor'easters and Road Lightning. They've switched from the last game. A chance for both of them to be crowned GNCBL champions. Ryan Penny is the man on the mound for the Nor'easters, with Dylan Furman, Luke Chessie, Jack LeBlond, and Gus Lappin as his infield, Brady Graff and Michael Weirn and Dawson Gunlaw as his outfield, and Andrew Merrill doing the catching for him. Andrew Heffernan leading off to get this second game of the night underway. Welcome to everyone as they slowly trickle in. I'm sure people left the other stream anxious for more action, and I cannot be more anxious to deliver. Fouled back 1-1 for Heffernan. Who in the last game went 0 for 3 with a pair of flyouts, a ground out, and a walk. Looking to find his swing against Ryan Penny, who the Nor'easter manager Max Zaleski chose to save and instead put Colin McDonald in the bottom of the 8th inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. And McDonald, on 2 days rest, proceeded to get the 2 final players to make outs and keep the Nor'easter season alive with a 2-1 win. Andrew Heffernan goes down on strikes there. First K and as many batters faced for him. Campbell Cassidy now due up. And he takes ball 1. Cassidy last game was 1 for 4 with a pair of groundouts, a strikeout, and a single. Three now. Penny is a senior at Husson from Thornton Academy. This season he threw 40 innings. He was second in the GNCBL in WHIP behind only Quinn McDonald, who we saw in the first half of this championship doubleheader. And he will take ball 4 and be aboard. I apologize, we're still setting up the graphics here. The score is not, in fact, 1-2. Had to start on very short notice. Richie Gilboy now up. And he fouls off pitch 1. That 2-1 was the score of the previous game. The Nor'easters led it for a majority of the way, or the Lightning did rather, 1-0. The Nor'easters scored once in the 6th inning to tie it, and then again in the 8th with a ghost runner to take a lead they would not relinquish. On the ground at first, fielded by Furman to step on the bag for out number 2. Down to second goes Cassidy. And this will bring up the only change in lineup for either team. Reese Owens is out, and Nick Frink, the late arrival, is in. He could not make it for the first game, but he is here tonight in the winner-take-all, do-or-die game. This was a double elimination tournament, so the Lightning came in needing only to win once. The Nor'easters need 2, and they got halfway there, so now it is anyone's game. Frink takes ball 1. Big cut from Frink. Now, these teams went back and forth all year, including in the postseason. They have each won a game against the other. And this will decide the season series, the playoff series, and GNCBL champion. If I had scripted this GNCBL season, I would have wrote it to end exactly like this. 1-2 from Penny. Weakly hit, and they'll call that a foul ball. I think he fouled that off his foot. One and two. And Penny, and he got him to chase. No, he did not. The catcher, Merrill, started running off the field, but that is called a ball, and Frink did not swing. Everybody's a bit tired and anxious to get these innings over with, except for me, of course. I could not be more excited for my final game to be one like this. To think at the beginning of the day I woke up absolutely convinced this game would not happen at all. I am overjoyed with this chance, and so should everyone in the crowd and on the stream getting to watch. Fouled back. Nick Frink's got quite an at-bat going. And that goes all the way to the backstop. That will allow Cassidy to get to third, and it will be ball 4 drawn by Frink. So Penny, who does not walk many people, has already walked 2 here in this first inning.
At bat, Henry Lodger.
To bring Henry Lodger to the plate. The center fielder today hits a bloop into right field and into no man's land. And just like that, this time the Lightning waste no time scoring first. They're up 1-0. Campbell Cassidy scores on an RBI single from Henry Lodger, who went 0 for 3 last game.
Up next, Henry Bebo.
But is already reversing his fate there. Well, Henry Bebo now in the back-to-back Henry part of the lineup with runners on the corners or runners on first and second rather, and 2 down. That's going to roll foul. 0-1. Bebo coming into today was 2 for 7 with 3 runs batted in. He went 1 for 3 with a single, a ground out, and a reach on a fielder's choice. He also walked and scored. He was the only run the Lightning scored in that entire game. They've already matched that total before the Nor'easters have even recorded their third out. In the dirt, 1-1. Ryan Penny had a 2.63 ERA and 26 strikeouts on the year. But looking a bit off his typical form. Three and one. On the Portland High School graduate, and that is Ryan Penny's 3rd walk in the first inning. He was known all season long as someone who rarely, if ever, issued one, and he has allowed 3 in just the first inning to reach on ball 4. And now we've got a mound conference already with Reese Owens set to bat. Definitely not the start these Nor'easters wanted, but hey, they just came off leaving the bases loaded the last inning they pitched at the end of game 1. So Penny can keep that train rolling. And if the rest of the game will be like this, we are in for a long night. And I will enjoy every minute I get to spend with all of you on the stream right now.
Owens.
Reese Owens hits it into right, foul. In the last game, Owens was 2 for 3, but grounded out while Henry Bebo was on third base. And what would have been the tying run when all was said and done was unable to get him home. Some moments in a game you don't realize just how pivotal they were until a few innings down the line. Such was the case with that. 0-2 on Owens. The Mosquitoes out in full force now, with night having fallen. And they've even infiltrated the sanctity of the press box. On the ground, a second. Throwing on to retire the side, so they will indeed leave them loaded, but not before the Lightning strike first. At the end of half an inning, they lead it 1-0. Bottom of the first, here at the Nightcap in Old Orchard Beach. Gavin Belargin was warming up throughout the first game, didn't come in, and thus he will start for the Lightning with their season on the line. Already has a 1-run lead, and he's got a defense around him of Richie Gilboy at first, Grady Hotham at second, Henry Bebo at short, Andrew Heffernan at third. The outfield from left to right, Matthew Connor, Henry Lodger, Campbell Cassidy, and Nick Frink here, replacing Gus Holland in the starting lineup. He'll be doing the catching for Gavin, who is thrown just 13 innings in the regular season. And in those 13, he allowed a total of 1 earned run. That was good for a 0.54 ERA that would have been head and shoulders above everyone else had it had enough innings to be qualified. He also struck out 13, or 14, walked 13 rather. In the playoffs, though, it's been a different story. He came in against the Nor'easters to try and close out that game in Sanford, wound up walking the bases loaded, had to be pulled. And, of course, that did not end up letting the Nor'easters win, but it was still scary. He's got a lineup of Jack LeBlanc, Brady Graffam, Dawson Gunlaw, Andrew Merrill, Michael Weirn, Dylan Furman, Ryan Robertson, Luke Chessie, Chris Balzano, and Gus Lappin. Almost exactly the same lineup. Luke Chessie has moved down a bit as he continues to slump. Did manage to reach base via walk in Game 1. But the opening matchup of the bottom of the first will be Belargin versus LeBlanc, who a game ago was 0 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts, also scored a run.
Leading off, Jack LeBlanc.
In the playoffs coming into today, he was 2 for 5 with 2 walks, so now 4 walks for him in the playoffs. Still looking for his first hit today. The Nor'easters now with home field advantage. But in a familiar hole, they were in a 1-run deficit for the lion's share of the first game. Fell behind in the second inning after a Dylan Minor jam, but he rallied, wound up throwing 7 innings before Aaron Kiss came in and nearly gave the game away, walking the bases loaded with a ghost runner. And just 1 out, Colin McDonald came to save the day. And if the Nor'easters do end up winning, regardless of what happens in this game to get them there, McDonald may be in discussion for playoff MVP between that and the complete game shutout he threw to get the team here, and now thought about going to first base for his 5th walk of the playoffs to Jack LeBlanc, but the umpire says not so fast. Payoff pitch from Balarjan. Roped into right, in for a base hit. There's your first hit of the day, Mr. LeBlanc.
Up next, Brady Graffin.
Brady Graffin now. A game ago, he went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Trying to reverse that fortune. Under the lights at Old Orchard Beach, and regardless of what happens today in this game, this will be the final game of the Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League season. At its conclusion, everyone will go home and have a good night's sleep, and then start packing to leave to their respective colleges. Certainly what I'll be doing. If anyone on this broadcast ever in Central New York, come and give me a shout. Charlie Fellows at the Newhouse School. 2-0 on Graffam. Big cut. Tried to force his way out of the slump he's been in. Coming into today, he was hitting rather well. 2 for 5 with a walk, a run, and a double. Has not had that much success at the plate today. Throw down to first. And man, it looked like he got him. LeBlanc was rather greedy with that. But he was able to just dive back in. Two one, 1 on, none out. High and tight. Much slower start to this game than the one we saw previously. Apologize for the sort of spots that are visible around where the lights are. It's a price we pay for being shielded from the bugs and the sun when either is necessary. Ball 4 issued to Brady Graffam there. Already the 4th walk we've seen between the two teams, and first and second none out for Dawson Gunlaw, who went 0 for 3 with a walk in game 1. Has just 1 hit in the postseason so far. He came into today 1 for 7. He is now 1 for 10. Balarjan, 0-1. Off the end of the bat into right, coming on Cassidy. It looked like that might drop, but it doesn't. Grady Hotham bails him out. Recognizes that Cassidy couldn't make it there in time and makes another excellent defensive play for out number 2. Hotham, the Nor'easters had the bases loaded, I believe, in the 5th inning, 4th or 5th inning of last game, with no outs, and ended up getting no runs out of it because of a Luke Chessie strikeout and a Ryan Robertson line drive right at, or I should say right above, Grady Hotham. He leapt up and snagged it and doubled off Michael Weirn at first base before he even knew what had hit him. 1 down for Andrew Merrill, who was the hero in the first game with a 2-out RBI single. Or it wasn't an RBI single, but it kept the inning alive and allowed Michael Weirn to drive the tying run home, send the game to extra innings where the Nor'easters would eventually win, and move all of our bedtimes back a couple hours. 2-0. Big cut from Merrill, the sophomore at East Connecticut State out of Oxford Hills. Two one. Catcher Frink looking the runners back to their respective bases. And he swings right through that. That was strike two. Lost myself in the count there. Full is the count now. Belarjan already trying to avoid giving their run right back to the Nor'easters. That's lined into left field down for a base hit. LeBlond is going to stop at third. He gets the stop sign, but that will load the bases with one out. Andrew Merrill once again playing the role of extender and doing it well.
Up next, Michael Weirn.
And batting right behind him is the man who has benefited from that extension the most, Michael Weirn, as a Mound Conference already in progress. Weirn hit that 2-out RBI double in the 6th inning to get the Nor'easters back into the game. Lightning already with a man up in the bullpen. I believe that's Nick Swain. Belarjan, of course, will stay in, but has only recorded one out, and he has loaded the bases in front of a man who can definitely make him pay. Weirn in the first game was 2 for 4 with a single, a double, a ground out, and a fly out. Coming into today was 2 for 6 with another double. He's got 2 in the playoffs. Hits it high into right, but arcing foul. Weirn out of St. Joseph's, or he's a junior. Originally from Ellington, Connecticut. He hit .295 with 3 runs batted in. In the regular season, a good knock here could match that total in this game alone. Takes ball 1. One, high. LeBlond at third, Graffam at second, Merrill at first. Perhaps this time the Nor'easters won't have to wait too long to take that lead back. Grounded to short, on to second one, on to first, and not in time. Merrill legs that out, so 1 run is in. The Nor'easters tie it up on another RBI single for Weirn. Andrew Merrill thrown out on the fielder's choice. Brady Graffam down to third. And in 1 inning, we have reached the score that it took us 6 innings to get to a game ago. 1-1. Dylan Furman in the first half of this doubleheader was 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out. Also had another single, so 2 for 3. 100% ran for him after that. He takes strike 1. Runners on the corners now. Graffam at third, Weirn at first. And he got under that into foul territory. Gilboy makes the grab to retire the side, but the Nor'easters strike back. Looks like we've got a stark contrast from the first game where it was a pitcher's duel before. An offensive duel might be brewing. 1-1 the score here in OOB. To the second inning we go. Fans coming back into their seats after taking a brief recess between games. Just saw a Domino's pizza delivery car come into the ballpark, so it seems people are making the most of their situation. Ryan Penny back on to pitch to Hotham, Connor, and Heffernan. Batters 8, 9, and 1. A game ago, Grady Hotham was 0 for 3. He struck out twice and flied out. He had the chance to be the hero with Henry Bebo on third with 2 outs, or 1 out, excuse me. He could not. He hit the ball to the one place in the park that would not have allowed Bebo to score, which was in left field directly behind him. And did that clip him? The umpire saying it did not. That's going to be 3-1. Hotham out of Palermo, Maine. Went to Erskine Academy in South China. Looks at strike 2. Season batted 122 with 7 runs batted in, 22 strikeouts, which led the league. Coming into today, he was hitting 5 for 9, which is best on the team, tied with Nick Frink with 5 singles and a runs batted in, but could not keep that success rolling in game 1. Payoff pitch line to short. LeBlanc on one hop throws over to get him. And speaking of heroes, Matthew Connor was one. He scored what was for a long time the only run of the game with an RBI double off Dylan Miner in the first inning, or second inning, rather. Showing bunt, lays one down, but not good enough to avoid Ryan Penny. Throws down to get him. Now bring up the top of the order. Andrew Heffernan started this game out by striking out swinging. He's a defending high school Class A champion with South Portland. He and Richie Gilboy both. Nice stop by Merrill. 2 out. Penny looking for a much cleaner inning. His team bailed him out, though. Dylan Miner had to wait 6 innings to get the kind of run support that Penny has right now. And in the first opportunity to score with the bases loaded, the Nor'easters took advantage, which could be the sign of shifting sands. These teams have gone back and forth all year, as I said. So it really is anyone's guess who will win tonight. 1-2. Into right. Gunlaw. He's got it. 1-2-3 go the Lightning in the top of the second. 1-1, the score remains. Bottom of the second, Gavin Belarjan versus Luke Chessie, Chris Balzano, and Gus Lappin. Excuse me, Ryan Robertson, Luke Chessie, and Chris Balzano. Got that off. Batters 7, 8, and 9. Ryan Robertson was 0 for 3 his last time out. Ducks out of the way of ball one. Another man who had the chance to be the hero with bases loaded and 2 outs. Robertson hit a harmless fly out into right field. 2-0. Sophomore out of Immaculata from Mount Ararat High School went .283 with 6 runs batted in on the year. Takes strike 1. And loops that foul to even the count. Robertson is the designated hitter or extra hitter. Doesn't really matter. Tonight, waved at and missed. First strikeout for Gavin Belarjan. Both pitchers had rocky first innings, looking for smoother frames coming up. Luke Chessie is up. This Robertson-Chessie back-to-back, really the duo of players that are in need of a major breakthrough. He dances out of the way, of ball one. Oh, nope, that clipped him. So he will get to see first base for just the second time these playoffs via hit by pitch. He also walked earlier today.
Up next,
Chris Balzano now. He went 0 for 3 with 3 flyouts to center field in the first game. Really, the only changes in the lineup today, Luke Chessie moved down, and Dylan Furman, who went 2 for 3 and did his best to help the team win, moving up in the lineup. That gets past Frink. So down to second goes Chessie. Two now. So you've just passed 8:30 p.m. here on Old Orchard Beach Standard Time. Prime time, brought to you live by Charlie Fells as always. That's grounded off the foot of Belarjan and into no man's land, and he's going to be able to make the play. Wow, what a connection. Belarjan made that play while he was falling down and somehow found the glove of Gilboy perfectly. He did take a little bit of a fall, so his manager Matt Power is out to check on him. Looks like he's okay, though. Chris Balzano just cannot catch a break. And now, the umpire is talking to him. The line drive did also go right off his foot, so understandable that he could not keep his balance. So everyone just making sure everybody's okay. Gus Lappin due up with 2 down and a man on third. Chessie was able to advance there on the ground out. Gus Lappin a game ago went 1 for 3 with a single and a strikeout. Coming into today was 2 for 4 with a double. He had a 2-run double against the Norsemen. Bats here in a 1-1 game in the bottom of the second. Big cut. Quick 0-2. Belarjan losing his hat. In transit on that one. Belarjan to escape the inning, and he'll do just that. Lappin chases a high one, and through 2, we are tied. To the third inning we go. Ryan Penny ready for his second trip through the Lightning order. Campbell Cassidy, Richie Gilboy, Nick Frink. The heart of this Lightning murderer's row. Cassidy was walked in the first inning, came around to score. On a Henry Lodger RBI single. Into right field for a base hit. Cassidy reaches for the second time. Second hit surrendered by Penny. Now here's Richie Gilboy, who made the second out of the first inning on a ground out to the third baseman. That damage all came with one away. Ryan Penny has seemed to settle in a bit, though he allowed a base runner just now. Strike one right down the middle. And if the pitchers do settle in, this will shape up to be another nail-biter classic. The longer this 1-1 tie remains. Big cut from the South Portland native slugger. This season, Gilboy batted .354, which is third in the GNCBL, as Cassidy scampers back to first. Batted in 16 runs, hit 2 home runs. Tied for the most in the GNCBL. One, two. Fouled, tipped, and he stays alive as catcher Andrew Merrill can't corral it. Ryan Penny out of Saco, so natural rivals with the man he's facing. Though Penny is 3 years older. Another throwback to first. Penny, as a junior with Husson, made 5 appearances for them out of the pen as he just dots the corner, but the ump doesn't give him strike 3. Penny had a 9 ERA, gave up 7 earned runs across 7 innings pitched. That is how you get a perfect .00 ERA. Slapped to second, and he eats the ball and has to throw on, and everybody's going to be safe. Paralyzed by indecision, perhaps. Luke Chessie didn't know where to throw, and he threw to first, but too late. Perhaps a costly miscue.
Up next, Nick Frank.
Gilboy on with the error, and now Nick Frink will bat. He walked his first time up, was stranded on third. Ryan Penny, for all these base runners, has allowed just 2 hits. They singled to lead off this inning, and then the RBI single by Henry Lodger. He has walked 3, and now Richie Gilboy has reached on a Luke Chessie error. It has not been his night. Frink, the only new face on either side, still forging his night's legacy. Fouls that back. Quick 0-2. No outs, 2 men on. Here in the top of the third. Penny. Waved out and missed. Frink goes down. A huge second out. Second K for Penny.
Up next, Henry Lodger.
Apologies, that was the first out. Still big, though. Double play now ends the inning. Henry Lodger, though, not the man you want to be facing. He may have found his swing again. Started today off with an RBI single. after going 0 for 3 in game 1, did reach on a hit by pitch. He was one of the 3 men on base in the bottom of the 8th when Colin McDonald came in and saved his Nor'easters season. Pitching on just 2 days rest, having thrown a complete game shutout against the Norsemen just 2 nights ago. He came in and left him loaded. So the Nor'easters would get 1 more game in their schedule. So everything that happens from this point on is thanks exclusively to him. 3-0. To the Husson commit out of Thornton Academy, former classmate or schoolmate of Penny. Takes strike 1. Both Trojan alumni. Hitters count, 3-1, and he hit. Takes advantage of that. Single into center field, trying to score now and doing so successfully to retake the lead. Campbell Cassidy scoring all the way from second on that routine single. Richie Gilboy takes his place there, and Henry Lodger is aboard with a hit. 1 out in the top of the 3rd. The Nor'easters back on top. Lightning, back on top. 2-1.
At bat, Henry Bebo.
Henry Bebo has walked. So Henry Lodger is 2 for 2 with 2 runs batted in. He batted in 5 runs all of the regular season. So far, he has batted in 4 in the playoffs alone. 1-1 on Henry Bebo. Runners on first and second, 1 away. A run already in this back and forth affair. Ryan Penny not showing his usual dominance, and that's another base hit into right field. Will Gilboy try to score? No, he will not. So the bases will be loaded. Lodger to second.
Up next, Reese Owens.
And for the third time, or the second time in 3 innings, the Lightning have them loaded. It's still just 2 runs from both of them combined. Mound conference underway for Ryan Penny. Coach Max Zalewski Jr. had to talk with him with Reese Owens due up. He made an out to end that first inning. Still 1 out. To everyone who's still up and watching, I thank you. You're probably a lot less tired than I am. The only saving grace is the action I'm watching. So many thanks to these players for not routing each other. First pitch coming to Reese Owens. And he takes ball 1. Penny is teetering on the brink of making that route a reality. On the ground is short, throwing to second for 1, on to first. That will not be in time, and a third run will come in. Richie Gilboy scoring from third. Henry Lodger down to replace him. Bebo thrown out. And Owens aboard on the fielder's choice. The Lightning lead at 3-1. And now batting is Grady Hotham, who grounded out in the second, which was a 1-2-3 inning. Penny had that and 2 very dicey innings around it. He's allowed 5 hits, 4 of them in this inning. In for strike 1 to the Erskine Academy graduate. USM commit. Trying to escape with no further damage is Penny, but he won't because that ball will go to the backstop. A wild pitch scoring Henry Lodger. And the Lightning have opened up a 3-run lead in just the 3rd inning. Rhys Owens advancing to second on the wild pitch. 2-1 count to Hotham. Meros to make another stop. 3-1. Penny really has been wild so far in the first inning as well. Not a sustainable strategy for sure. Finds the strike zone there to bring the count full. Hotham trying not to strike out in another high leverage situation. Lined right back up the middle to short. LeBlond in time to get the 3rd out. Penny visibly frustrated after that, walking off the mound, giving up 3 runs. Lightning blow it open just a bit. They lead it 4-1. Into the bottom of the 3rd we go. Well, the score was not deadlocked at 1 for long. 4-1, the Lightning lead it in the bottom of the 3. A slow-paced game here under the lights in Old Orchard Beach. Gavin Belarsion has not had much trouble after the first inning, allowing the first person to bat to come around to score. Nobody has since, and that person was Jack LeBlond, who bats now. He led off the game with a single. Big cut. He came around to score on an Andrew Merrill, actually a Michael Wern RBI single. Takes another strike. Quick 0-2 from Belarsion, who through 2 innings has allowed 3 hits, struck out 2, walked 1, and allowed the 1 earned run. 1-2. The Lightning have seen deficits in these playoffs before, but none quite up to this level. But a lot of baseball still to be played. That misses. 2-2. The Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League refuses to let its season end. There always must be more action. A winner cannot be crowned until they have proven they can gut through everything the opposing teams throw at them. And LeBlond just had ball 4 thrown at him, so he's aboard for the second time.
Up next, Brady Graffam.
Brady Graffam was the recipient of Belarsion's other walk in the first. And he takes a big cut. Once again, these Nor'easters kicking themselves that they did not take advantage of a bases loaded situation. They did get one run out of it, but they left the bases loaded in that bottom of the first. And any more runs than the amount they currently have would make this deficit sting all that much less. Third act to first. Graffam has not had a great day. He was 0 for 4 in game 1. Did manage to get a walk. Reached first base for the first time to lead off or bat second in this game. 1-2 count. For Belarjan, the Morse High School graduate. That ball gets past his catcher, Frink. LeBlanc down to second. Belarjan out of Woolwich. Went to high school up in Bath at Morse High School. Hit well out to center. Coming on, and actually that barely left the infield. So the shortstop Bebo took care of it.
Up next, Dawson.
LeBlanc stays put. Dawson Gunlaw will bat with one away. He's popped out to second. That was a good play by Grady Hotham in foul territory to make that put out. Waved out and missed. Still in the first half of this one. Belarjan steps off. But trust me when I say I've watched enough of these two teams to tell you the action and excitement is far from over. And that could be for either side. We could see the Lightning step on the Nor'easters' throat here and answer that defeat with a convincing win. We could also see an inspiring rally. We could see more extra innings. We could be here till next Thursday. Any outcome is possible, and Gavin Belarjan perhaps wants the latter of those. Stepping off again. 1-2. Just misses. 2-2. On to Gunlaw, the York High School graduate, with Andrew Merrill on deck. The extender hit into center, field well. Henry Lodger coming on, and he can't get it. Can't grab it from the air. That's going to be a double, and that is going to score a run. So the Nor'easters get one back. Gunlaw breaks out of his slump in a big way. Scores LeBlanc all the way from second base, and the Nor'easters cut just a little bit out of that deficit.
Up next, Andrew Merrill.
With Andrew Merrill up, as I said, he is the extender. When he comes up and there are men on base, he gets a hit and keeps the rally going. With the red-hot Michael Weirn behind him, Gavin Belarjan does not want the inning to get there, but it almost certainly will, regardless of what happens in this plate appearance. And Merrill looks at strike one. Gunlaw, now the occupant of second base. Henry Lodger was coming in. It looked like that was dropping fast, but Lodger might be able to lay out and grab it, but he couldn't. He's a sure-handed center fielder, but everyone gets eaten up by a ball once in a while. Would have been a difficult play, but we've grown accustomed to seeing him make those. Four to 2 now in the bottom of the third. 1-2 on the catcher out of East Connecticut State. 6'2" righty. Hit .351 with 6 runs batted in this season. Misses low. Belargin heading to UMaine in the fall up in Orono. With Morse, he was primarily a hitter. Did most of his pitching with this Lightning squad. Both teams with action in their respective bullpens. Andrew Pruill up and working for the Nor'easters with Ryan Penny looking to be gassed. And the Lightning had Blake Peoples heading out toward there, but perhaps called back. Belargin showing signs of mortality as he has all game long. 2-2 to Merrill. A pivotal inflection point in this game, and he makes us wait a little bit longer for it. Two and two. Beneath the night sky in Old Orchard Beach, he checked his swing, brought the count full. For one final night this year, there's no place I'd rather be calling a game under these lights. And there's no place these players would rather be than playing for the championship under them, as that's ball 4, gets past Frink. So Gunlaw down to third.
Up next, Michael Weir.
Merrill draws the second walk of the inning from Belargin. The extension has been achieved, and now Michael Wern, batting behind Merrill for both these games, has capitalized greatly from his exploits. In Game 1, he went 2 for 4 with a single and an RBI double. And so far today, he has hit an RBI single. He has driven in a run 2 of his last 3 plate appearances. Can make it 3 out of his last 4 with a hit here. Tried on strike 1, a breaking ball. Runner goes in tight for ball 2, but that is going to be out number 2. Caught trying to steal was Andrew Merrill. The cannon attached to Nick Frink said no to that. But Dawson Gunlaw remains 90 feet from making this a 1-run game. 1-1 to Weirn. Misses. Hit .295 with 3 runs batted in, as I said, this year. A tick up from his college campaign at .260 with 15 runs batted in across a larger sample size. In the dirt, 3-1. Weirn making sure to let Gunlaw know that ball was in the control of Nick Frink. 3-1. High pop-up into shallow left or right. Gilboy has it and catches it to retire the side. But the Nor'easters get 1. They trail by just 2 now as we head to the 4th. Reese Owens, or rather that's Matthew Connor getting ready to bat along with Andrew Heffernan and Campbell Cassidy in the top of the fourth. Ryan Penny back out there. Try to smooth up some of the issues he had in a long third inning. Connor has grounded out to Penny the first time he batted. It's the last man to see Penny twice. Quick 0-2. And he whiffs at strike three. Connor goes down on 3 pitches.
Bat,
Andrew Heffernan has also struck out. He's flied out 0 for 2. Each of the Lightning's first 7 hitters have reached base at least once today, except for him. But that streak will continue. Nice stretch by the first baseman, Dylan Furman. I don't think he really needed to hit the splits there, but letting us all know he can do it.
up next,
Heffernan over 3.
Campbell,
Campbell Cassidy's had a much better day. He has walked and singled, and he's scored both times. He represents half of the Lightning's runs. That's a quick 2 outs from Penny in just 4 pitches. Some bullpen activity for the Lightning for real now. I believe that's Ian Libby. Andrew Pruill up in the nor'easter pen as well. First ball delivered in the inning by Penny. He seems to alternate clean innings and less than clean ones. 1-1. Into shallow right. That'll drop for a base hit. The depth perception got me there. Thought it might be going right into Luke Chessie's glove, but Campbell Cassidy has his second hit.
Gilboy,
6th surrendered by Penny. Richie Gilboy has reached on an error and scored, also grounded out. And takes a massive cut at that. Happy 9 o'clock p.m., everyone. In a season as tight and back and forth as this one, it only makes sense we would go until the last possible minute to crown a winner. And this game, despite the Lightning holding the advantage, is far from over. We are not even halfway home, though we are one out away from that, extra innings permitting. 1-1 coming from Penny. Another big cut. That time Gilboy gets a piece of it. Nick Frink due up, should the inning get there. And with no more games to keep in mind, everyone in the bullpen is available that has not pitched already today. Popped him up. Penny calls for it, and he's got it to retire the side. Another quick, relatively painless frame for him. The Lightning stay at 4 runs. The Nor'easters trying to change their mark of 2 as we're halfway home, heading to the bottom of the 4th here in Old Orchard. Well, despite their 2-run lead, it's the Lightning that make a pitching change first. Gavin Belargin is done after 3 innings of 3-hit, 1-run, 3-walk ball, and down to replace him is Josh Kopetsky, who started the first playoff game these two played on his birthday last Thursday. It was a game he won. He will face off against Furman, Robertson, and Chessie here. Dylan Furman popped out to Richie Gilboy in foul territory his first time up. 1-0 on him as the GNCBL season has entered its home stretch. Just half a game to go before a champion will be crowned. Off the end of the bat into right, Cassidy closing in, and he's got it. 1 away. Ryan Robertson is struck out swinging.
Up next, Ryan Robertson.
He will face Kopetsky for the first time, the University of Rhode Island commit out of Thornton Academy. So a duel of Thornton Academy alumni in the 2 pitchers currently going, although we will see whether Ryan Penny comes out for another inning. 0-1, waved out and missed. Kopetsky this year, 17 1/3 innings, 2.42 ERA, which is 5th best in the GNCBL. The Lightning have a seemingly endless stream of top-level pitchers, and they took the advice that I just gave to heart, which is this is the last game. Why screw around? If your starter is showing even the slightest signs of fatigue, you may as well replace him. Fouled off to right. 1-2. Lefty fires, just low. Kopetsky with the Thornton Academy Trojans this past spring hit .516 and drove in 8 runs. With his bat, with his arm, had a 2.83 ERA and 43 strikeouts in 29 2/3 innings pitched. So he's actually pitching significantly better against higher quality competition this summer. In terms of ERA, anyway. The Rhode Island Rams certainly happy to hear that. In his start against the Nor'easters in Sanford, he went 4 innings, gave up 8 hits and 1 run. That's off the end of the bat. Softly to second, throwing across his body. He won't even get a throw off. Another tough play for Hotham. And Robertson is aboard.
Up next, Luke Chessie.
Luke Chessie has been hit by a pitch. Got around to third base in the 2nd inning, but could not come home. That gets through Frink. So Robertson down to 2nd. Lots of passed balls on both sides. Even with the Lightning having a new catcher for this one. Both teams, actually, with different catchers. Waved at and missed by Chessie, the senior at Bowdoin. Also a Thornton Academy grad. Lots of those in this game. Hit .270 with 14 runs batted in this year. Another wave and miss. But in the playoffs this year, he is still in search of his first hit. He is now 0 for 9. Has reached base a handful of times, has walked, been hit by a pitch, and reached on a fielder's choice, but also struck out 4 times, 5 times actually. And if his bat can come back to life at the best possible time for the Nor'easters, It will be another sign from the baseball gods that this season of theirs is meant to last just a little bit longer. But that hit will not come in this at-bat. That is strikeout number 7 on the playoffs.
At bat, Chris Balzano.
That's K number 1 for Kopetsky. Chris Balzano now has grounded out to the pitcher. Takes high. Bases empty, 2 out. Not bases empty. I don't know why I said that. Runner on second, 2 out. In the bottom of the 4th inning. Nor'easters have a 2-run mountain to climb, but plenty of outs to do it. Takes strike 2, does Balzano. The junior at Roger Williams, and I bet you'll never guess what high school he went to. Taking strike 2. It's Thornton Academy, by the way. Saco natives making an impact in this game in every way. Kopetsky got jammed, hit right back to him. Throws over to first in time to get him and end the threat. 4-2 the score remains. We head to inning number 5. Back to the action in the 5th inning. Ryan Penny will still be the man for the Nor'easters. They're going to ride him as far as they can, even with Andrew Pruill ready to come in at a moment's notice. Nick Frink, Henry Lodger, Henry Bebo, the trio due up for the Lightning, who lead by 2. Nick Frink has walked and struck out today. He takes ball 1. You'll be shocked to learn he's a Thornton Academy graduate, though he also attended Scarborough High School. Has won many a home run derby and high school baseball game alike. Fouls that one back. 2-1. Coach Max Zalewski hoping to get one more good inning out of Ryan Penny. 2-2. And not inflict any more damage. As I said, a 2-run deficit is more than manageable. Full count. And his team earlier today established a precedent for late game heroics. Full count. Frink stays alive. And did he go around? Yes, he did. First base umpire rings him up. Frink strikes out for the 2nd time.
Up next, Henry.
And now the Henry duo will bat against Ryan Penny for the 3rd time. Lodger and Bebo combined have reached base all 4 times. They are 3 for 4, or 3 for 3, excuse me, with a walk. Lodger takes strike one. He has singled twice and scored. Swing and a miss on a ball outside. Shortstop Bebo due up as the center fielder Lodger bats now. Penny. Low and away. Try to get him with a curveball. Andrew Pruill and Josh Murphy watching the game from the nor'easter pen. That's another foul, basically the exact same spot. One and two with one away in the bottom of the fifth, top of the fifth. 2-2 now. Get my home and away confused. They did swap from last game. Got under it. And a foul ground. Covering ground. And did he make the catch? No, he didn't. It looked like he did at first. Gilboy gave it everything he had. That's actually not Richie Gilboy. I'm not sure. There's been a substitution for the first baseman. That's Dylan Furman. Again, getting my home and away confused. Dylan Furman had it in his glove, but he couldn't corral it. So the Lodger plate appearance will continue. Penny's 2-2. Missing low. Base is empty, one away. On the ground to third. Lappin. Crosses body, and what a play that was. Dylan Furman redeems himself. Can't quite make one incredible play, but he'll make it up with another one. Doing the splits out of necessity this time on a throw from Gus Lappin. And that gets the second out.
Henry Bebo.
It's the first time anyone has retired Lodger in this game. Henry Bebo, yet to be put away either, has been a victim of a double play ball, but has singled and walked. He takes strike one. Henry Bebo out of Portland High School. Big cut. Coming into today was 2 for 7 with 3 runs batted in. Went 1 for 2 with a pair of walks in the first game. Now quickly down 0-2. Hello to all 11 of you that have tuned in. That's our high watermark for the night. I appreciate you all. Outside 1-2. Charlie Fellows, as always, your guide from the start of the season to its conclusion in a few minutes. Out into right. Gunlaw into foul ground and dives back over, and he can't corral it. Ryan Penny was walking off the mound because he thought he made the catch, but he dropped it. And so with 2 strikes, Henry Bebo will bat at least one more pitch. Ryan Penny would have been out of this inning a while ago if his fielders could catch some pop flies. The Furman one wasn't really his fault, but Gunlaw lost it in the darkness to the extent that you can even do that with a white baseball. Outside, 2-2. Four to 2 in the top of the fifth. 2-2, now 3-2. 2 outs, base paths empty. Henry Bebo's already drawn a walk today. Payoff pitch. He got him swinging to retire the side. No harm, no foul on Gunlaw's part. To the bottom of the fifth we go. Nor'easters trying to kickstart their bats with the top of the order plus Gus Lappin due up. And down by 2. Bottom of the 5th. Nor'easters running a little low on outs. They still got 9 of them. Gus Lappin is the first. He has struck out swinging today. Jack LeBlanc and Brady Graffam also due up. Against Josh Kopetsky, in for a second inning of work. Out of the pen, he misses just inside. To Lappin, the junior at Husson, out of South Portland High School. He waves at strike 2, or strike 1, excuse me. This season, the marketing major at Husson at 208 with 10 runs batted in, which, like almost all the players here, is a significant uptick from his college numbers. Certainly slightly inferior competition, but also the opportunity to play every day. And really make an impact on a quest for a title, which is what he has done. 3-2. He was 1 for 3 with a single in the last game. 0 for 1 so far. But he draws ball 4 on that. First walk issued by Josh Kopetsky. And that will bring the top of the order up to bat for a third time. Jack LeBlanc has had himself a day. He has singled and walked, and he's scored both of the Nor'easters' runs. So him being at the plate is perhaps a harbinger of good things on the horizon. Takes ball 1 inside. The Nor'easters have had 3 people been stranded at third base. Brady Graffam, Dawson Gunlaw, and Luke Chessie have all done it. That is the difference in the game right now. Two and 0. LeBlanc wanted something to hit there, didn't get it. Breaking ball, swinging for strike 1. With Lappin on first and Kopetsky making sure he stays there. Blake Peoples heading out to the Lightning pen for real this time. Wave and miss once more by Jack LeBlanc. Two and 2. Just got a piece of it to stay alive. At this juncture of the game, every pitch, every at-bat matters. And the Nor'easters are well acquainted with kicking themselves for not taking advantage of opportunities after the fact. As their chances of winning this thing wane with every passing inning. The urgency grows, and Jack LeBlanc fighting for his life successfully so far. Knows that better than anyone. Two and two. And that's in for strike three. LeBlanc not happy. He sits down for the first time. Kopetsky a huge K. His second to get out number one. Brady Graffam has walked and popped out. Still looking for his first hit on the day, but did manage to get to third base or even first base, which was further than he'd gotten in the previous game. He takes strike one. 4-2. With one away, a man on first in the bottom of the fifth. Graffam wanted something there. Quick 0-2. The Nor'easters were the number one seed in the GNCBL, 13-10. They had a drama-free final day. The Lightning, meanwhile, as Brady Graffam goes down on strikes, went into the final game of the season, the 2 seed, then dropped their final 2 games, one apiece to the Norsemen and Patriots, to allow, or one each actually to these Nor'easters as well as the Patriots, to allow the Norsemen, who had swept their doubleheader, to leapfrog them and get into the 2 seed. The Norsemen came agonizingly close to defeating them on Sunday, and who knows, if they had not lost a coin flip and been the road team despite having the higher seed, they may very well have. But the Lightning are still here. Dawson Gunlaw taking strike one. He has doubled and popped out. Driven in a run as well. Foul back. That's the first contact anyone's made with a Kopetsky pitch in a while. But as I was saying, the Lightning it ended up working out as if they were the 2 seed. And they had just beaten the Nor'easters in winners finals anyway. Swing and a miss. Josh Kopetsky gives up a leadoff base runner, then strikes out the side. Nor'easters running out of chances. And the Lightning have a chance of their own in what is hopefully for them their second to last time at the bat. Leading it 4-2 in Old Orchard. Ryan Penny's day is done for the Nor'easters after 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, and 4 earned runs. Andrew Pruill on in relief to replace him. A senior at Thomas College out of Warren, Maine, Potomac Valley High School, will face off against batters 7, 8, and 9 for the Lightning, Owens, Hotham, and Connor. The former of which has grounded out and reached on a fielder's choice. He looks at ball 1. Pruill this season through 21 1/3 innings for the 4.59 ERA. Nothing to scoff at. Used exclusively in relief. Fires in strike 1 to Owens. The St. Joseph's commit out of Buxton and Bonnie Eagle High School. 2-1. This season he hit 200, did have 1 home run as well as 6 runs batted in. Those are the outcomes the Nor'easters need to avoid if they want any chance of coming back. And given the way the lineup is working out, unless they can have a long extended rally in the bottom of the 6th, that comeback will have to start with the bottom of their order. Waved at and missed by Owens. Pruill starts his night off with a strikeout.
Up next, Grady Hotham.
Grady Hotham has grounded out twice to short. Trying to help his Lightning go back-to-back. They captured the GNCBL title last year. A team comprised of exclusively different players. True of most teams in the GNCBL, but especially of the Lightning, considering they are all comprised of rising freshmen. Matt Powers gets another ring at least. 1-1. Those of you still up and still watching, I thank you. Showing bunt down the third base line, throwing across his body. What a put out that was. Gus Lappin to Dylan Furman. Again, that connection sound as ever. He laid down that bunt a little too strong, just 1 iota too much of energy, and that allowed it to get into Gus Lappin's glove an instant too soon. Grady Hotham grounds out for the 3rd time. Matthew Connor also not having a great day. He's grounded out to the pitcher, struck out swinging. With 2 down, Andrew Pruill working on a quick inning. One 0 on him. Andrew Heffernan on deck. Pruill, his junior year with Thomas College, made 15 appearances in relief, 4.38 ERA across 24 2/3 innings. So about almost exactly identical numbers to the ones he has now, complete with the number of innings. 2-1 on the center fielder. He checked a swing. Connor, the left fielder, excuse me. Full count. Payoff pitch, and that's inside ball 4. 2 out walk. Gets Connor aboard, and that will bring the inning to Andrew Heffernan, which historically would be a good thing to say, but not so much today. He is 0 for 6 today across 2 games with just a lone walk to his name. Today, in this game, he has struck out, flat out, and grounded out. In the regular season, Heffernan hit .316 with a home run. He's the defending 2023 Gatorade Baseball Player of the Year in the state of Maine. Dual threat with state champion South Portland, had a 0.33 ERA as a pitcher, hit .432 as a hitter for the Red Riots. In the GNCBL this summer, he hasn't exactly lit the league on fire, but he's been solid as a leadoff man and a closer. Although he did blow a hold opportunity in Game 1 of this two-game championship. 3-1. Popped him up in foul territory. Andrew Merrill giving chase, but it's just out of play. GNCBL faithful still showing out, despite the time on the clock inching ever closer to 10 p.m. They have been here for this league all season long for their teams. And they'll witness this payoff pitch from Andrew Pruill trying to end this penultimate frame. But not yet. Back-to-back two-out walks will bring up the potent bat of Campbell Cassidy, who has singled twice and walked, also scored twice. Mound Conference ongoing. The Nor'easters do have another arm working in the pen. Josh Murphy. And as such, Pruill will remain in to pitch to Cassidy, who has reached base all 3 times in 3 tries this game after going 1 for 4 in the first one. He has been up and down, with a game-breaking home run in the wild card game, largely absent in the divisional round against these Nor'easters, then came up to play versus the Norsemen in winners finals, was absent in the first game tonight, and now, when it matters most, the coin flip came up heads. Metaphorically speaking, of course. 0-1. From Pruill, who looked like he was cruising through the first 2 batters, but now he's struggling to find the strike zone, and Merrill has to knock that one down. Fights off strike 2. Does the Auburn native, Edward Little High School graduate. He'll be joining Nick Frink, who we may see next inning, or if this inning gets out of hand in a couple batters, at Merrimack, a Division I program. In for strike 3. Pruill does not let the walks phase him, gets out of the inning. Cassidy sits down for the first time, and now the Nor'easters with Merrill, Weirn, and Furman, the heart of their order, due up. 6 outs between them and a back-breaking second-place finish. Bottom of the 6th coming right up. Back to the action, bottom of the sixth. Josh Kopetsky's long relief appearance continues. He's allowed one hit, one walk, struck out 4 so far. In an excellent effort from him. Andrew Merrill, Michael Weirn, and Dylan Furman do up. Merrill is 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. Both times he was thrown out trying to reach second on a fielder's choice and a double play. Hits that high into right. Gilboy tracking it, and he's got it on the edge of the infield for out number 1.
Up next, Michael Weir.
Michael Weirn has singled and popped out. He has 3 hits today across the 2 games. Facing off against Kopetsky for the second time and hits that out into right. Cassidy has it, barely has to move. 3 pitches and 2 outs.
Up next, Dylan Furman.
And Dylan Furman is 0 for 2 with a pair of pop outs. So straights once again dire for the Nor'easters, trailing 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th. If Furman cannot spark something, it will either be a walk-off or it will be nothing. Takes strike 1. Furman has made a couple exceptional plays at first base, showing his flexibility with doing the splits for some putouts or just to show off. Also nearly tracked down made a circus catch on a foul ball, but couldn't get his glove on it. 2-2. 2 out. Base is empty. Kopetsky has allowed just 2 base runners, a hit and a walk, both in his first inning of work. That sails to the backstop. He came in to pitch the 4th. Allowed 1 hit. Led off the 5th with a walk, but then struck out the next 3 batters, LeBlanc, Graffam, and Gunlaw in succession. 2-2 on Furman. Bit of confusion with the scoreboard there. I think it's 2-2, but the only 2 that mattered was the second one. Furman goes down on strikes, and the Nor'easters will have to win it in style or not win it at all. First, though, the Lightning try to tack on some insurance with their heart of the lineup coming up as we head to what could very well be the final inning of play in the Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League this season. Stay right here. Coming back in between innings to issue a correction. The Nick Frink College was Quinnipiac. I got my colleges confused. Andrew Heffernan is the other Merrimack commit. Him and Campo Cassidy would be college teammates in this coming season anyway, as you were. To the 7th inning we go. Andrew Pruill out to face Gilboy, Frink, and Lodger in what the Lightning hope will be their final 3 at-bats of this campaign. It has been a long and winding road, but the deciding inning could very well be upon us. The Lightning with a 2-run lead. And Gilboy will lead it off. He is 1 for 3 with, actually 0 for 2. He's reached on an error and scored. He's also grounded out and popped out. His first look at Pruill. 2-0. And 3-0 from Pruill. Well, if the Lightning do win this, it will be a testament to a lot of things. But I would argue primarily to depth. The Lightning have the deepest roster in the league, as Gilboy aboard with a 4-pitch walk. From pitching to hitting to fielding to everything in between, their roster is specifically engineered to win in a long-form league setting like this. And for a team going for their 2nd straight title, you might have expected it to be a cakewalk, but it was not. They got off to a slow start. They finished the season 500, 8-8-1. But they caught fire in the playoffs. They have come through in the clutch with that 5-run rally as that gets past Merrill. Gilboy down to 2nd. Against those Nor'easters, or against the Norsemen, the Norsemen were 3 outs away from sending the Lightning to the losers bracket and guaranteeing themselves a spot in this game. But everything fell apart. They ended up losing to the Nor'easters for 3rd. The only way you can do that, and the only way you can have as many different, unsung, unpredictable heroes over the course of a playoff run and over the course of a season, is if your team from top to bottom is filled with players that can play. Frink skies that into right. Gunlaw coming on, and they lets it drop. Gunlaw and the second baseman Chessie had a bit of a miscommunication on that. And now the Lightning looking poised to add at least one more to their 4 they currently have.
At bat, Henry Lodger.
Gilboy able to get to 3rd. Nick Frink gets a double out of that. Henry Lodger will bat with runners on 2nd and 3rd and no outs. He is 2 for 3 with a pair of singles, and he's also scored. Looks at strike 1. Pruill finally finding the zone. Josh Murphy working in the Nor'easter pen. You wonder if we might be seeing him sooner rather than later. Better to be proactive about it, especially in a situation like this. Lodger down 0-2. Because there is a massive difference with only 3 outs to work with between 4-2 and 6-2 or more. Lodger hits that into right, and it'll drop foul. (0-2) on the center fielder out of Thornton Academy. Pruill misses. Henry Bebo on deck to complete the Henry connection. Lightning also with a man warming up. Not exactly sure who. Lodger looks at strike 1, a big first out. Strike 3, I should say. Out number 1.
Henry Bebo.
Pruill's 3rd K. Henry Bebo Bebo, has singled, walked, and struck out swinging. And he will be intentionally walked to load the bases with one out, introduce the possibility of a double play, and bring Reese Owens to the plate. He's 0 for 3. He's reached on a fielder's choice and grounded out and struck out.
At bat, Reese Owens.
With an intentional walk, the get out of jail free card is clear. Double play or risk scoring a run. Proul with quite possibly the season on the line. He cannot let this deficit get any bigger than it already is, or the already faint hope of a comeback will fade even more. He's got Owens down 0-2. Throwing gas all of a sudden. The Warren, Maine native gets another strikeout. Owens goes down for the second straight time.
Up next, Grady.
And Grady Hotham, who has grounded out to short all 3 times, will need to break that streak if he does not want to leave the bases loaded in the top of the 7th inning. Looks at strike one. All I'm saying, what a poetic way for this season to end. If it was the Lightning that left the bases loaded with a chance to add on to their lead and the Nor'easters took advantage of that. Proul is 1 strike away from that reality. He has been up 0-2 on every batter he has seen since Nick Frink, not counting the Bebo intentional walk. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Grady Hotham trying to get his first hit in 4 tries. 1-2. Matthew Connor on deck. 1-2. He struck him out. Andrew Proul with 3 strikeouts in the 7th inning keeps the hope alive for the Nor'easters. And this inning, we will see if that was for naught or if that will be the spark they need. With Ryan Robertson, Luke Chessie, and Chris Balzano due up in the bottom of the 7th, it is win or go home here at the ballpark. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a full summer of Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League action comes down to this. Josh Kopetsky versus Ryan Robertson, Luke Chessie, and Chris Balzano in the bottom of the 7th of a 4-2 game at the ballpark in Old Orchard Beach. It's been hard fought all game, all day, all season between these two teams, the only teams that were ever going to meet in a do-or-die true finals. Both have lost a game in the playoffs. Both have lost a game to each other in these playoffs, but only one can win. Ryan Robertson has struck out and singled, trying to get a rally going against Kopetsky, who's in for his fourth inning of work. That's hit past the glove of the shortstop, Henry Bebo, and he has his second hit of the day. So the tying run will come to the plate.
Up next, Luke Chesney.
Just the second hit allowed by Josh Kopetsky in 3 and change innings. And that will bring Luke Chesney to the plate. Well, if ever there was a time to break out of this slump, it would be now. Chesney has been hit by a pitch and struck out today. He has failed to get a hit in all of his postseason at-bats up to this point. He is 0 for 9 with a hit by pitch and a walk across 3 games. But what a story it would be. He is the tying run. Should he reach, Chris Balzano would be the winning run. Kopetsky's 1-1 in the dirt. To the Bowdoin Senior. Mound conference ongoing. Strategy at play. This is the season for the Lightning, for the Nor'easters, everything they've worked for across this summer of baseball. Due to the park schedule, I've gotten to know these teams better than any others in the league as Chesney looks at strike 2. And I know it could go either way. In the words of some wise, famous person probably, I know enough to know how little I know. Full count from Kopetsky. Chesney up the middle to short, on to second for 1, on to first, and that's a double play. Well, Luke Chesney did not, in fact, break out of his slump. In fact, the continuation of the slump has the Nor'easters 1 out away from the end of their season.
Up next, Chris Balzano.
And Chris Balzano has the unenviable task of being the man. He has grounded out to the pitcher twice in this game. Josh Kopetsky with a save on the line. Allowed an opening single, but it was erased. Drops in strike 1 on a curveball. The Lightning dugout on the edge of their seats, ready to erupt. They are 1 strike away. Kopetsky. Strike 3. Frink will throw down, and that'll do it. The Maine Lightning, for the 2nd straight year, are GNCBL champions. After a long, winding, arduous road, they have done it. 4-2. They fall in the opener, but come back and win when it matters most, vanquishing their faded rivals in the process. Manager Matt Powers, for the 2nd straight year, is atop this summer league. And that will conclude the Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League season for this summer. What a season it was, though. The 5 teams, the Lightning finishing first, Nor'easters finishing second, Norsemen at third, Patriots disqualifying at fourth, and the Windjammers finishing at fifth. All of them gave it their all, gave us some memories that will live forever on this YouTube channel in the minds of everyone who watched and called and was a part of them. What an honor it was to be involved with this season. And before I go and sign off for the final time, I'd like to say a few things. I'd like to issue a few thanks to the players, of course, on all 5 of those teams for making this such a memorable season and giving me so many moments to call, names to remember, and games that I will never forget. To all the managers, of course, for putting up with me standing around outside the dugout and waiting to get their lineup cards 30 minutes before game time. And especially to Nor'easter manager Max Zalewski, the man who makes this league happen. Without him, I quite literally would not have been able to call this game or any game or even be in this press box doing what I love, doing what I do best, bringing the game of baseball to as many people as I can. To Max Zalewski, thank you. And as for me, who knows? This is, of course, the final broadcast on the season for me as a member of the Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League. I will continue to try and do what I do best and bring the game of baseball to as many people as I can. And who knows, maybe someday you'll see me on ESPN doing a package or on the Big Jab or Nesson calling a Red Sox game. Until that day comes, though, for one final time, I've been Charlie Fellows. Take care.